KNM Group is selling its entire stake in German-based process equipment manufacturer Borsig to GPR Ziepsichte Verwaltungsgesellschaft or GSV for €220.8 million or 1.03 billion ringgit, but is expected to make an estimated loss of 490.55 million ringgit from the disposal. In a Bors filing today, the group said its subsidiary Deutsche KNM entered into a conditional sale purchase and transfer agreement with GSV on Monday. The estimated loss, which may result from the deal, includes a portion of goodwill of 355.74 million ringgit impaired last December. However, the group believes the transaction is a timely cash injection to improve its financial position. It said it will use the proceeds from the deal to repay 874.23 million ringgit in bank borrowings, reducing the total from 1.28 billion ringgit to 391.53 million ringgit and resulting in annual interest savings of 85.02 million ringgit. It is also allocating 71.98 million ringgit for working capital requirements for renewable energy projects and another 15.97 million ringgit for the estimated expenses on the proposed disposal that may be completed in the third quarter of this year. At the close, KNM shares were down 20.5% to 15.5 sen, valuing the group at 570.13 million ringgit. Derby saw its third quarter FY22 net profit tumble by 18.67% to 244 million ringgit from 300 million ringgit a year ago, as its core businesses of industrial and motors were hurt by COVID-19 related disruptions in China and Australasia. Quarterly revenue slid by 4.07% to 10.57 billion ringgit compared with 11.02 billion ringgit a year prior. On a quarterly basis, net profit came in lower by 29.29% from 345 million ringgit in the immediate preceding quarter, while revenue rose by 0.34% from 10.54 billion ringgit in the second quarter of FY22. Commenting on the group's financial performance, Derby Group CEO Datuk Jeffrey Salim Davidson said the group was able to deliver resilient results despite increasingly tough market conditions. He pointed to Motors Malaysia as a standout performer, as profits more than tripled from higher vehicle margins and higher profits from assembly operations. He added the reopening of economies and bullish commodity prices should sustain its business in the coming quarters. The conglomerate remains committed to its long-term growth strategy and will continue to capitalize on opportunities to rationalize its portfolio and double its efforts to strengthen its core businesses. At 5 p.m, Derby's shares settled 1.32% lower at RM2.25, giving it a market capitalization of 15.32 billion ringgit. Serba Dynamic Holdings has been slapped with yet another suit, this time from Malaysian trustees, which is the trustee of the oil and gas company's 100 million ringgit Islamic Commercial Papers or ICP that the company has defaulted on. In a civil suit filed at the KL High Court, Malaysian trustees is seeking a declaration that a dissolution event has occurred on the ICP, together with an order to compel Serba Dynamic to pay the outstanding ICP amount of 100 million ringgit with compensation for late payment. It is also seeking to execute a sale agreement with Serba Dynamic to acquire from the beleaguered company its entire beneficial interest in the Sharia-compliant business of Amanah Raya Investment Management or ARIM as part of the agreement under the dissolution of the ICP. ARIM agreed on condition that Serba Dynamic provides a strategic plan and repayment schedule that is agreeable to both parties by January 27, 2022. According to the suit, Serba Dynamic had informed ARIM on January 17th that the group was finalizing a comprehensive restructuring and repayment schedule plan and that it would submit the plan once it had been completed. However, there has been no updates or communications on these matters between the parties since. Shares of Serba Dynamic settled 9.09% lower at 10 sen, giving it a market capitalization of about 372.72 million ringgit. Former Deputy PM Datuk Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi claims negligence and mistakes by his former private secretary in making transfers of funds belonging to him and his foundation had prompted him to use a law firm to ensure tighter control of such transfers. Testifying at his corruption trial, Zahid said that Major Mazlina Mazlan Ramli, who was entrusted with the running of his personal bank accounts and finances, as well as that of Yayasan Akalbudi, was negligent in her duties. He said this was why he had no choice but to transfer the funds to law firm Lewis & Co., where there was an accountant and a bookkeeper, as well as account officers who could take care of the accounts. Therefore, he argued, his actions did not constitute a criminal breach of trust and pinned the blame on Mazlina. Zahid, who is charged with using 107,509 ringgit and 55 cent of the foundation's funds to pay the road taxes for his vehicles, also testified that he had never instructed Mazlina to do so and insisted that she had done this without his green light. Penang-based electronics manufacturing solutions provider Synergence made its debut on Bursa Malaysia's ACE market, emerging as one of the Borsa's most actively traded stocks. At the opening bell, the stock opened 4.31% higher at 60.5 cent, 2.5 cent higher than its initial public offering price of 58 cent. By the end of trading, the stock had padded its gains to trade unchanged at 58 cent for a market value of 288.84 million ringgit. It saw a total of 109.87 million shares changing hands. Commenting on the group's IPO, Synergence Independent Non-Executive Chairman Datuk Azman Mahmud said he is confident the group will continue its growth trajectory, enhancing its market presence and operations through its future expansion and development plans. As for the group's dividend policy, its CEO and Executive Director Lai Yin Choi said Synergence is now in a growth phase and will only finalise it after the completion of a new factory in Penang. 36 million ringgit has been earmarked for the smart automation factory, which he said is slated to be completed by the second half of 2023.